so there wasn't an orgy. But that dinner scene with Bert, Irving, and Fields was still plenty fascinating. One reason being the fact that Bert is no longer seeming like the innocent old man that we all thought he was. But it wouldn't be an episode of Severance if we didn't get thrown some major curveballs. Let's talk about episode 6 of Severance. It appears Milchick is taking the notes that he received on his performance review very, very seriously. I mean, it's no joke. Those paper clips, they're so damn important. And those big words, the man is a walking encyclopedia, so it's going to be quite hard for him to break the habit of always sounding like a goody two-shoe. And you can see that in this episode as he sits here and constantly tries to put these documents together so he can practice the paperclip thing. His hands are literally trembling by the time he's done doing all this. And then he stares in the mirror and starts talking back and forth to himself, reliving the moment where he scolded Miss Wong. It was quite entertaining, and it is more than clear that Milchick is reaching some kind of a breaking point. My man is reaching the last of his patience, and something is going to happen. I'm expecting that maybe by the end of the season, he's either no longer going to be working for Lumen, or he's going to be joining Mark and maybe helping expose Lumen, or he's just going to pull out a gun and start shooting people. Who even knows? He's reaching some kind of breaking point. That's all I can tell you. In this episode, Mark finally tells Helly about the sexy time that he had with Helena, and the poor girl seems genuinely hurt to find out that it wasn't her. I feel like her reaction to finding out that Helena was pretending to be her is in fact one of the most honest and easy to connect with moments that her character has had since the start of the show. And Helly has been a constant grounding force in this show. The show opens with her, and she continues to be an extremely important character. And this moment of seeing that pain in her eyes, it really just sold that this is a person, and that was a betrayal. It's a little hard to grasp because we can't totally connect with the idea of a severed person, sharing our body, but it's easy to understand feeling violated. What Helena did was deceitful and dirty and showed just how twisted and dark she is, which is probably why it's not a good thing that she is now hounding Mark in the outie world. Not only that, but she's interrupting the man's dinner. The man was sitting there trying to stuff his face with Chinese food, which, by the way, is one of the best coping mechanisms I've ever seen. I think that some good lo mein noodles and some crab rangoons, they really will go a long way when you're feeling stressed out. But what is she doing coming to this place and interrupting the man when he's trying to eat his fortune cookies? It's no wonder he gives her such a cold shoulder, and the woman deserved it. We've seen Mark have mood swings throughout this series. He has moments where he genuinely comes off as kind of a dick, but this is one of those moments where, yeah, he was acting kind of dicky, but I'm like, go ahead, give this woman the cold shoulder she deserves. She is a bitch, and she deserves all of it. So while Outie Mark is upset, stuffing his face and acting like a cranky butt, Annie Mark is getting some Helly butt. Give me some credit, you've got to admit, that was a little funny. And it probably was not anal. That was just my humorous way of segueing into this sex scene. But, to be fair, we didn't see all that happened. There could have been other positions, there could have been some toys involved. We don't know really what happened. All we know is Helly was happy. And I was so glad to see her getting to make her own memory with Mark, one where she's in control of her body, instead of that prickly Helena, who probably isn't even that good at sex. Let's be honest, she looks like an uptight woman. Although maybe uptight women are pretty good. Maybe she's got some whips, maybe she's got some chains. Is this video turning way too much into the sex scene? I think it is. Let's move on. Why did Dylan's wife feel the need to lie about visiting the innie? Like I said a few videos ago, is it cheating if she decides to end up kissing Innie Dilly, which we see in this episode that she does. Now she decides that she's not going to tell her outie Dylan husband, but why? She didn't have to mention that she kissed him, but she lied about the entire visit even happening. Well, why would she do that? I suspect that their marriage has gotten a bit predictable, as many marriages do. In fact, all marriages. You have to do stuff to keep it spicy, otherwise it's gonna feel like you're going to work and punching in a 9 to 5. But with Innie Dylan, it's kind of like a clean slate. It's like the first date all over again. And I think that probably excited her, and that is why she decides to kiss the man. But obviously she does feel guilty. She doesn't really want to explain the awkwardness of, yes, I kissed you, but it wasn't you, but it's not cheating because it's still you. It just sounds like a really messy thing to talk about over the dinner table or even in a private room. It just doesn't sound like a fun conversation. Things with the integration are starting to proceed way faster now. We got lots of cuts back and forth in this episode, and it's pretty clear that Audi Mark is becoming more and more aware of the things going on down on the severed floor. He knows that his wife is down there spewing random facts to people. He's really disturbed by this because she's acting like a straight up robot. After Regaby floods his chip, he gets super sweaty and faints. But I would wager that when he wakes up, Mark is gonna have a lot more information to be telling people. And I guess now the cat's out of the bag that Mark has a woman living in his basement, so that should be a fun scene. I'm looking forward to the dynamic between the sister and this moody woman who loves a good snack. Now let's end this video by talking about the very awkward yet extremely revealing dinner between Britt, Fields, and Irving. For one, who thinks it's weird that Britt calls his husband by his last name, Fields? It just seems very robotic, very formal, almost like they are actually co-workers. I was getting like detective vibes, like, hey, Fields, you got that body? You don't address your spouse by their last name. That's just not normal. Something weird with that already. And we find out some pretty interesting things about why Britt was at Lumen in the first place. See, it turns out he did not think that he was gonna go to heaven, but he is pretty sure that Fields is gonna go to heaven, and he doesn't want Fields to be in heaven by himself, so he wants to go to heaven. It makes sense. And the idea is that innies have their own souls. And since Audi Britt is apparently not worthy of going to heaven, the idea is let's create an innie Britt, and that person might have a more pure soul, willing and worthy of going to heaven. What did Audi Britt do to make himself feel like he is not going to be going to heaven? And what does it mean when Fields says that Britt has worked at Lumen for 20 years? But then Britt quickly points out, no, Severance has only been around for 12 years. This man, he had a bit too much to drink. I don't think so. I think Fields is telling the truth, and I think Britt is the one hiding something. My theory, because I'm very good at coming up with theories, probably most of them wrong, but it's still fun to do, is that Britt could be an OG founder at Lumen. And wouldn't it be crazy to find out that he was a lot like Helly in the fact that he was never actually severed at all? Maybe he's not. Maybe he was there just like Helly to spy on people. You know, Britt's house didn't really look too shabby. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he comes from some big money, and it would make sense if he is a founder at Lumen. Because I was reading some comments online about this episode, and someone at IGN, I think, they pointed out that that big burly bearded guy that works for the board, well, he was breaking into Irving's apartment during this whole dinner scene. So perhaps this dinner scene was just a diversion to get Irving out of his apartment so they can find out exactly what Irving knows. Because it becomes clear now that Irving is the closest to finding out what is going on at Lumen, and he has been looking into Lumen for quite some time, it seems. And did you notice that that big burly guy had a huge ring of keys? That guy apparently had enough keys to make a janitor jealous. So let's just go ahead and assume that he has a key to all the severed employees' houses, and it's only a matter of time before he uses one of those keys to break into Mark's house and finds a woman down there eating frozen yogurt. So what did you guys think of this episode? I think it was another solid entry in the Severance Season 2. I'm looking forward to finding out more stuff, and I can't wait to get to the bottom of what is going on with Britt. He just shot up to being mystery number 1. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you want to hear more things from me, subscribe to this channel. Later.